Yo, yo, yo!
What's
What's
going
happening?
on?
Welcome back to another review of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
What's that noise in the background?
Oh, you can hear that?
It's
That's
very,
that would be a thunderstorm happening here.
it's coming down.
Yeah, it's coming down. You might hear some thunder and rumbling in the background. It just started like at 8 o'clock. So hopefully that won't persist throughout the duration of the show. But if you do hear some rain and some thunder in the background, that's exactly what it is. But other than that, how's your week going?
Pretty good week. We had a lot of good weather. My allergies are out of control. Um, but yeah, but otherwise, I think we're gonna get some of the weather that you guys have going on. It's gonna be a great weekend. Actually, all next week is gonna be pretty raggedy, but I'm glad we got some nice days this week. I baked a cake for Easter and it didn't come out well, and I was so upset that I baked another cake for no reason, just so I could redeem myself.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've had two cakes in a very short span, which was quite unnecessary. But yeah, so I made a dope cake with caramel icing that I thought was fire, and there's no reason for me to be eating cakes right now. I'm actually on a mission. I've been given the task to make my father's birthday cake. He likes coconut cake, and so I made the Easter cake to test, to practice for that cake. And now I had to make another cake, which came out better, but I still have more testing to do before I make his final cake. So there'll be a lot of baking going on in my house.
Well, I'm sure that that final cake will come out to perfection or near, and I'm pretty sure he will enjoy it.
Oh, he most definitely. I even if it's not at this point, all the work that I'm putting in, lie to me. Just don't. Even though I think with all the practice that I'm getting, the cake is gonna come out just fine. But even if it doesn't, it's not even worth it to tell me. Just lie.
I mean, hey, I got. I think it'll come out good, and I'm pretty sure you're over analyzing a bit, over
I
critiquing
probably.
yourself, and I'm pretty sure that the cake is gonna come out good regardless, and he's gonna enjoy it, and he's gonna have a great birthday.
I hope so too. His birthday is in May, by the way. So
Word, bro.
I'm
We
more than a
got
month
we
in
got
advance.
nothing but love for May babies over here. All
Yeah,
May
it's
babies.
your birthday. The twins turned 17. Then my dad's birthday. May is a very packed month. I have a lot of May people in my life.
May is a great month. Spring and all that, everything is still nice and freshly blossomed. It's not in certain areas, it's not super super hot yet, but it also is. This is like where you get that consistent warm weather where you can be outside all the time as long as it's sunny, and you don't
Yeah.
gotta worry about like uh, just that inconsistency that March and April can sometimes bring with the heat. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into this discussion about episode. What was it, 4?
This is episode 4.
Carol, what's going on? My mom's in the chat. Everybody's in the chat. Yeah, we had some
Going
little
on.
technical difficulties earlier with the stream, but I think we got everything situated. Had to put out a new link, but we'll get everything worked out. Got everything worked out, and I'm ready to talk about this episode because for me, this was a bit like a big improvement from last week.
This is a big improvement from last week. I think it's a great episode. Probably my favorite. Um, if I had to
Mm.
rate it, I'd give this an 8.5, maybe an 8.75. Even though there's only going to be two more. So, you know, I, maybe it will deserve a 10. Maybe I'll come back at the end. But I did say last week that I wasn't going to rate, and now I'm rating it
I
anyway.
was about to say
This is
because
such a good
you
episode.
didn't even rank last week. You're like oh I didn't even did I? No, I said six
After
point five. I said 6.5.
So I said last week that the episode was so bad that I was going to give Marvel a chance to redeem themselves, and I wasn't going to rate it until after we've seen them all because maybe it'll be better. But after watching this week, that was just not the best episode. There was somebody said in the Discord today that the hands to substance ratio has been restored or something like that. Because last week was all hands on deck. There was a whole lot of action, but nothing, in my opinion, of value happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, but this week I feel a lot better. Um, can I say what my favorite part is?
yeah. What's that?
My favorite part of the show was when uh I just forgot her name. Is it Carrie? Kelly? Carly from the
Carly.
Five
Yeah.
Smackers
I was, you know
told
what? I was thinking
Stan.
about old girl from last episode, and I'm like, she wasn't in this episode. But yeah,
Yeah, you know what
Carly.
messed me up? I was tagging her on Instagram. The actress's last name is Kellyman, so it threw me off. But
Gotcha. Yeah.
Carly told Sam in this episode that if she killed him, it wouldn't be worth much.
Mm.
Like, and that, even though like the first two episodes they spoke a lot more on race, like in that one line for this episode, she completely like brought all of that back. And in my opinion, I was
Yeah.
like,
And
ooh,
it's
that's
it,
gotta hurt.
yeah, and also like on top of that, like the wild part is she doesn't even understand the full context of that sentence when she's delivering, because she doesn't know about Black Cap. Like she doesn't know about um what's my man? Gosh, I forgot his name.
Isaiah?
Isaiah. Yeah, I don't know why I wanted to call him Jonathan for some reason, but yeah, Isaiah Bradley. She doesn't know that. As far as we know, she doesn't know that he even exists. Like most people probably don't know he exists. So like the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he would even say that she said that, and now that Sam has the knowledge of Isaiah Bradley's existence, on top of Cap being the one to give him the shield, and he was basically said no, and so like all of that compiled into that, adds a lot of weight into that sentence. Then I think Carly even realizes in that moment for Sam. So yeah, it was a really good line. I think overall for me, this episode is in that, I'm gonna say an 8.5 range. It's up there. It's not my. I don't know if it's my favorite yet because I've heard some rumblings about next week's episode is going to be pretty pretty amazing. Rumors are that it's going to be 61 minutes, and that the bulk of the production went into basically these last two episodes. So I think we're going to see a lot of good things. They set up a lot of good things in this episode, more so than they did in the last episode, I want to say. Um, but yeah, there were a lot of moments in this episode that I'm going to remember. Uh, First and foremost being the Dora Milaje. Like, as soon as all of that happened, we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. But I was like, my immediate thought was like, I need this Wakanda show like ASAP, and I need them to be the main focus of it
We're not gonna
because
get it
I need more
ASAP.
of them. I
We
need more.
I definitely need more of them. We're not gonna get it ASAP, which stinks. But I have a feeling that Ryan Coogler is gonna give us what we need. We're gonna have a good show, and we're gonna see the Dora again before then. I don't think that's the end of them. We're gonna see the Dora again, and I'm excited.
We're going to see them again in the show. There's no way, as long as Zemo is still, because he got away at the end of the episode. This is a full spoiler conversation, by the way. So if you hadn't seen the episode, just FYI, we're going to be talking about it. And I know we're like, 10 minutes into this, and we've already spoiled a couple things. But yeah, just doing our due diligence. But yeah, like, that scene was cool. Zemo being back to the Zemo self, even though I appreciate Dancing Zemo, like that meme is gonna go down in history as one of the best memes on the internet.
Real quick,
Um,
the Zemo cut was not what we asked
it's
for.
not. I was disappointed with that too. I was so underwhelmed.
I didn't
I
ask
needed.
for it, but they said that in last week's episode, when the actor was filming, the whole dance thing was impromptu. And they
Yeah,
said that there's an hour of him dancing on camera somewhere.
exactly.
And so Release the Zemo cut was trending this week because after learning that, people wanted to see it. So Marvel was like, you know what? I got y'all. We're going to give you the Zemo cut. Yesterday, they released the Zemo cut. It's literally an hour of the little bit of dancing that you see on the show. And they looped it. It's like 25 seconds looped for a full hour. I was tight. I just knew they about to show
Wait,
me.
they released. I didn't see the hour. I saw a minute, like a minute 30 some clip on Twitter, and it
Right.
really is just it's just him fist pumping, and I'm thinking like when they said like he got down, I'm thinking like this man was on he was busting several moves on the dance floor, and like people were just like, yo, what is he doing? And I wanted to, I think the hype of it kind of sort of was way more than what we got in the clip in that extended, because I was very underwhelmed. I was like, it's just more fist pumping. I'm glad that they showed a little bit more, but I'm like, at the same time, it didn't live up to the legend and the hype of what we were anticipating all week
I'm
for
dropping
me.
that link in the oh, see, I'm so used to using my work computer, which is a PC. I keep hitting control instead of command, so I'm not copying and pasting things properly.
Oof,
All right.
that's rough.
Command C.
That's one of the roughest transitions from Mac to PC for me is like the key commands, because I don't I'm not wired to use control, or what is it, control or is it alt
It's
on the
control instead of
to PC?
command.
Yeah, so it just my brain isn't wired to do that. But no, man. So overall, we get back to the more serious tone. We get back to this the flag smashers, and let's talk about the flag smashers as a bit like just for a little bit as overall like there was a departure from what we I don't know we had a conversation I think after episode 1 and 2 about the flag smashers and like what this organization can be, and that we all felt, JBM included, shout out to him, he's actually on the road, so safe travels. Hopefully he kind of delayed to the stormcast, because I mean I'm pretty sure they're getting the same thing that I'm getting. He's not too far away. So like either way, we kind of sort of were like, yo, this is an organization that we can kind of sort of empathize with. We know that they aren't really the good guys, but you can definitely empathize with their cause. And then last week in the episode when Carly blew up that depot, it was kind of like way out of left field. She killed a bunch of innocent people. It was uncalled for. I think for me, for you, for everyone, I think the property damage would have been enough. It wasn't.
Yeah,
I
kill
just don't
people.
see the reason why she needed to kill those innocent people in that moment, because it's just going to play into their hands. Like everyone that's painting to them as the villain is going to see that, and they're going to it's going to justify it. Like they're going to run with that forever. Like so, um, getting back on that, we get Cap and Haskins back into the picture. We start out with the conversation between uh, I want to. It's not Okoye.
That's
Ayo,
Io. It's pronounced
Io,
Io.
Io, and Bucky at the beginning too. But like, what brings Cap and Haskins into the picture is I'm pretty sure that explosion that Carly causes, and Zemo's escape from prison. Like everybody is in on it, and everybody knows what happened. Um, so everybody's kind of sort of closing in on Falcon and um, Bucky. Like we get a little bit more insight into Carly's position on why she did that, but for me, it still didn't like. It's still not a justification. And I don't understand her reasoning still behind her killing those innocent people.
I don't understand her reasoning, but this is also the same person who wanted to give the super serum to children. So I think just like Zemo was in that previous in a Winter Soldier, or just like Killmonger was in Black Panther. They have a genuine cause, a real problem that they want to be solved, but They're not going about it in the right way. I also thought it was a little funky of Zemo to call Carly a supremacist in this episode when he killed
Hmm.
innocent people too to achieve his goal. It's like the pot calling the kettle black. You are just as much a supremacist as she is. Maybe she is a supremacist of, supporting people who were down during the blip, who came back up, who were down before the blip and came back up. And Zemo is just anti any sort of supernatural, any sort of powered being. He
Enhanced,
lost
yeah.
his family and just decided, yo, I want to kill you and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it done. Like, he's the
Which
reason why T'Challa's father is dead. So, I
which Io brings up, and she kind of
right.
give because in I think that opening conversation was really good between Io and Bucky, and
Just so
I
you
think that whole
know,
sequence was cool.
at first I was really not feeling like Wakanda as a whole was going to be happy with Bucky assisting him breaking out of jail. You talked me down. I should have not let you talk me down because they were not happy. They were perfectly fine with him being in that jail. Well, not perfectly fine, but they were content with him being in that prison. And then he broke them out. Bucky assisted him with the breakout, and then Ao was like, "Yo, I did all of this for you, and then this is how you do me. This is how you treat Wakanda, White Wolf."
Yeah, well, my argument, I wasn't arguing that they wouldn't be upset. I was saying that they would probably see how they could still benefit on the justice side because they can still now they have a new opportunity to bring Zemo to justice on their terms. That was basically what I was trying to argue. Um, I think that yeah, of course they're going to be upset. They're going to. That's why they would have responded in the first place. And him explaining the reason why they're using Zemo, I don't think justified it enough. But I think they saw the potential gains from them using Zemo in the capacity that they were doing so to stop the flag smashers. Because I think that I don't know what I don't know what Wakanda's opinions are on the flag smashers at this point. But I think that they can see them as a plausible threat. So if they could kill two birds with one stone, then I think that they are reasonable enough to give them some, give them a leash. And she does. She gives them what 24 hours or 8 hours, something
8 hours. He had
eight
just
hours.
that
Yeah,
day.
yeah. So and I totally that's the argument I would have also made like I'm not allowing this. I won't allow this to persist for too long. But if you believe, I think they trust him enough to know that, especially at least Io, I think she trusts him enough to know that if he's taking this risk, then there's some sort of payoff or benefit at the end, and she's willing to allow it to play out for that 8 hour term. And if they can't do it in the 8 hours, it's over for them. And I'm like 110% on board with that. Like that made total sense to me, and I think that was the angle and that they would have played. Like I didn't see them allowing them to leave that location without Zemo in custody, and for me the logic behind the story and the plot played out for me, and it makes sense
Got you, got you.
in that capacity. I totally if I came across as like, oh, they were going to be 100%. Oh yeah, that's fine. We're going to go back to that's not what I meant at all. Like I meant
No, just more like, thank you for breaking him out so that we can take him.
yeah, that's no. That's not what I meant by that. Like I meant like I think that they would have they trust Bucky to a degree, and I don't know if I said it on this on last week's stream or if this was just something that we talked about on Discord or what have you. But I think there's a relationship to some degree between Io and Bucky. I think that's why she was the one that was sent in dispatch because I think that they have a connection and they showed that in this episode.
Yeah.
And so I think that because she trusts him, she knows him. That's why they sent her, or she maybe volunteered to go to figure out what was going on to make sure he hadn't gone off the deep end. Like I think there's a lot more into it than what we got on the surface.
Real quick, shout out to wardrobe because how they dressed the Doro outside of their uniform, their not their uniform, their armor is
Yeah.
on point and very, I guess, streamlined. Like when they are
Hmm.
not in uniform, they
It's
wear
very clean.
they're very clean, and they it's a similar fashion. It's black dresses, and they have the appropriate jewelry to match their status. But just the way Io was dressed in this episode, it took me right back to which movie? The very end of Black Panther. But I also believe during um Civil War when T'Chaka was speaking towards the beginning of the movie, I'm pretty sure there were some Doro with him
I think so
standing
too.
by him, but they weren't in their uniform, so we didn't recognize them. But they always wear just a black dress or a gown of some sort. The only person who hasn't worn that outside was Okoye, but that's when she was undercover with Black Panther in Black Panther, which was undercover when they went to the
When they went to the
casino thing.
nightclub,
Yeah, to the
or
night.
I okay,
She
I
had on
thought they
like the
were
red
undercover.
dress, but she had on the wig, so she was technically undercover. She wasn't supposed to look like a Doro, which is why she wasn't dressed that way. But other
Yeah.
than that, if they don't have on their armor, then they're wearing um uh black gowns. And I think it's specifically when they're out. Like I have to watch Black Panther again, but I think they have like a bit of toned down armor when they're in Wakanda, or like
Mm.
more like a uniform that they wear, not necessarily their armor like when they're fighting. But
It's yeah, it's
regardless of
gear.
that, when they're outside, they're black decked out and bald and moisturized and looking good. So shout out to wardrobe for that. I love how they look.
Yeah, I think they're drawing to inspiration, and you're right because so certain divisions within like law enforcement, they do have like undercover units, right? Like that are supposed to be low vis, but they do have um, outfits in gear that is custom made for their line of work that is combat suitable, but is also very civilian in appearance. And I believe that's what these the outfit and the dresses that they wear while they're undercover are like. They're very combat appropriate, but they're still, you know, only they appear to be very civilian. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you look at that outfit, it's very like reminiscent of their combat apparel. And I
Definitely.
think it's definitely intentional. Like they still have to be ready to fight. Like if something happened, if something went down, they can't be too dressed down to where they couldn't handle themselves. Like so, they still got to be able to do what they do if things go south. So I liked that aspect of it. I think it's very real. I think that's a good attention to detail on the costume department's part.
Definitely. I don't mean to change the subject, but it's just on my mind and I want to get it out. I am not a new cap sympathizer,
Mm-hmm.
but I do feel bad for him.
And you know why? You know why?
What you about to say?
It's because they did a really good job of developing the relationship, the friendship between him and Haskins. They
That's
did a
not why I
phenomenal
feel
job.
bad for him. I felt bad for him before the events of today's episode. Even like before the ending, I felt bad for him, and I think it's he. This episode solidified why you should feel bad for him. Like I I don't think the US really understood who Steve Rogers was. Like, that's just not your average soldier. Like, even just think about today. He didn't do his homework or he was not properly informed of the task at hand. Like, how can you go to get Zemo and not know about King T'Chaka's killing and how serious the Dora Milaje is? How can you be surprised by them? I think he was surprised at their presence with the way that he spoke to them. He called their sticks pointy things. He didn't even know they were made out of vibranium, which is the same material that his shield is made out of. So I'm I'm blaming that
Why
on the U.S.
that?
government.
I don't think that shield is made out of vibranium because Cap shield got destroyed in Endgame. That's a new shield.
It's a new shield. They got vibranium. It's
It,
definitely
but
because
it,
she hit it and it didn't crack it.
but it could be adamantium now because we are in because Cap's
I already
original
told you I
shield is
wasn't
made
going to
out of
speculate.
adamantium. But I'm not saying that this is what it is, but they can totally retcon it because his original shield was adamantium, which is the same stuff that Wolverine's claws are made out of. And so it's possible that the remade shield is actually adamantium, which is it's a alloy of vibranium and I think some other strong metal.
That's cool and dandy, but he still did not know that their spears were vibranium. He called them
Yes,
pointy things, and he was very condescending. He touched Ao, which
I mean it was over at that point.
it was over
Like you
before
knew what
then.
time was. You
So
know,
just for that, I like the lack of just knowledge about the situation, who he's dealing with, um, the fact that he did not trust Sam to go in there tells me he I don't like you can't work well. We knew from the beginning it wasn't going to work well together, but you can't even try to work with these people if you don't trust them. But back to why I feel bad for him. I don't think he was properly trained for the position he was given. I think the United States expected Captain America to be one thing. They put Steve Rogers in the position and he excelled. And then they just picked someone who they thought would fit. But what they wanted Captain America to be versus what it became are two separate things. And then they expected this new guy to fill old Cap's shoes. And that's not really what happened. And so they threw him in there. They sent, I mean, honestly, he's fighting super soldiers. He's not a super soldier himself. They sent him in there. You can't be surprised that Lamar died at the
yeah,
end. So
yeah.
I'm feeling bad for New Cap because he was not properly trained for the station he was given. I think that's the proper way to say it from our military people. And I also just don't think the US really cares that much. Like the in the show, like I don't know. But then again, my original theory was that the person who put them out here was a Skrull. So, you know, if that's true, then the Skrull wouldn't necessarily know all of that either or wouldn't think that far ahead. I don't know.
It's okay, but the scroll thing is like a even further leap than the shield being made out of adamantium. But
No,
we're
sir. No, you reaching on that. For those in the comments, let me know what's more possible that the person who gave John the position as Captain America is a Skrull or that his shield is made out of adamantium. I'll let y'all simmer on that, but I'm telling y'all, it's more likely that that person is a Skrull.
while they
That is
simmer on
wishful
that, I
thinking,
will
sir, and you
say
know
that
it.
is what
That's wishful thinking, and you know it.
it's. I don't think that's wishful thinking because it's what his shield was originally made out of. In the comic books, his shield is made out of adamantium. It's not made out of vibranium.
Right, but we are in the MCU, and they got a little bit of their own thing going on, just a tad. Some things are not canon.
But this show came out after the acquisition, so they can totally say adamantium now.
They could, but they haven't yet.
And when they do, that's what it'll be made of. And but while they debate that in the comments, I'm gonna say that I don't feel bad for John Walker at all, like not even the slightest. The only thing I do feel is I can empathize with his reaction after Haskins is killed. Then that's about it. Um, to your point about Cap, we'll see Rogers. I will say that contrarily, John Walker is probably what they imagined Captain America was going to be before Steve Rogers took that because it was supposed to be the perfect soldier,
Right.
and he is. It, John Walker is the perfect soldier, but Steve Rogers is not the perfect soldier. Steve Rogers is more or less almost a perfect human being,
So,
and those two are. I think John Walker is exactly what they imagined Captain America to be from the jump. It's just that Steve Rogers is just a better human being than a perfect soldier.
I agree with you, except what they're missing is how valuable that is. Because if he is the perfect soldier, why would he be reacting the way that he's reacting on camera, embarrassing the US government like that? No matter how Cap felt, but no matter how Steve Rogers would have felt about his friend dying, he wouldn't have done that. That's the difference right there. Well, there's many differences, but I don't think Steve Rogers would have reacted in that way.
No, he wouldn't, and it's
And he
not
was a loose
because
cannon before that. You could see him devolving every episode. It's just getting worse and worse.
John Walker. Yeah, because he's been he's a career soldier. He's been a soldier since he left high school. Like that, he's got a very different trajectory than Steve Rogers. Like his combat experience and his combat record far exceeds anything that Steve did before he became Cap. Like he was already a decorated soldier, and because of that, like there are things that happen on the battlefield and while you're on assignment that don't always make it onto the official uh, transcript, and that's just part of being a soldier, and he that's ingrained in him, and you see a lot of it in his character. It's not that he um, is inherently evil. It's just that sometimes he has a lot of times as a soldier he has to pick the lesser of two evils. Like he doesn't have a good option. Like I can imagine that there are certain situations where he has to make a decision where the fewer people are going to die. Like there's no situation where, or it's very rare where he's, you know, faced with an opportunity where he can keep people from dying. It's just a matter of which option is going to reduce the amount of casualties. And so, you know, from that perspective, I think it just his character is shaped by that, like in all those decisions, and you see that come out. Like uh, he's not going to fit that identity that Steve Rogers created for Captain America, and that's I don't think that's no fault of his own. Because I believe like Captain America was supposed to be a U.S. military asset, and if he's a U.S. military asset,
Why is he over there?
because he's a U.S. military asset.
I
Now, what happens? What happens in the plaza in front of everybody is basically that's the worst case scenario because you got documentation, so there's no plausible deniability. You can't say that, you know, you can't deny what happened. Like it was on camera. They caught him in 4K. So, but there are situations where like had those cameras not been there, it would have played out the same way, and I bet you nobody would have found out about it. And the only reason why he's going to face consequences in the next episode is because it was on camera, not because he did it. It's because it was documented, and they have proof. So now they have to punch him publicly, and that's how he's been operating. And so like that's why I don't really feel bad for him. I can empathize with his reaction, but I don't feel bad with who he is. Like, and this is why he's going to become U.S. agent. Like this is why he's a perfect. I'm not a perfect, but he's U.S. agent. He's gonna get a new costume, new shield, but Sam's gonna get that shield back, the Cap shield.
Are they going to give him the shield back, or is he going to take it? I'm going to be honest. In
I'm
this
not
next
sure
episode, if he doesn't take that shield, then I like. Why are we waiting for the government to give it to him? He needs to take it.
because
I don't.
I think what's gonna happen is it's gonna be a court martial for that murder that uh, John Walker committed, and because of that, he's going to be reprimanded. He's going to be kicked out. He's going to lose his status as Captain America, and now I don't know if they're going to give it to Sam because of that. So it leaves the opportunity for Sam to get the shield back in some way, shape, or form, or fashion. But I don't think that happens until after the court martial and reprimand of John Walker, which is going to send him down the path to become a U.S. agent. Like it's already that's basically because this scene happened, it's solidified him becoming a U.S. agent at this point. Like he's no longer Captain America. And now how Sam gets the shield back is really the question, but John Walker being Captain America is over. Signed, sealed, delivered.
I was trying to figure out how they could let him be secret agent, but he technically killed a terrorist. They're going to remove the shield because it looks bad, but like the powers that be aren't going to see a problem with his actions.
No, they're not gonna have an issue of what he did. The only issue they're gonna have is that it was done on camera in front of everybody. Like that's gonna be the only issue because now they're gonna be forced to do something about it. Because like I said, remember last episode or was it episode 2 when he told Haskins like, well, as long as we get it right, like nobody's gonna ask any questions. So that means they've done this before. Like they've taken this discourse. Like
They've been
this is
doing
not
this
new to him.
overt stuff.
Yeah, like he knows that that's how the army operates, the military operates. Like as long as you get it done, and there's no repercussions on them, and nothing that can be like seen as negative, and come back on the U.S. government and the military. At the end of the day, they don't really care. You were sent to take down the terrorists. How you did it is not even a second thought or consideration, and as long as you get the job done, as long as you're able to execute the task, and no fallout comes on the forces and the powers that be, they don't care.
Do you think he's going to give himself the serum?
He definitely is going to give himself the serum, but whether or not he gets the serum before or after he's reprimanded, well, no, he did give himself the serum. He definitely gave. I was under the impression that he gave himself the serum before he went to find Haskins, because when they're fighting on the staircase and the dude tries to hit him with a pipe, he grabs it and bends it with his bare hands, and I don't know if it was Bucky or Sam that sees it, and he looks at him like, "Yo, how did you just do that?" And then when he jumps out the window and lands on the hood of the van, like he should not have been able to do that unless he'd already
You're the second person to tell me that today that you think he took it already, and I didn't.
I'm pretty sure he popped it. I think when he and Haskins had that conversation in the plaza when they were eating before they went to before they got captured, I think he took the serum.
The only thing that made me think otherwise was this time. Like, did they have the time to do that? Because we know taking the serum is not just a quick thing. It's very painful and you go through a lot. But you are definitely the second person to tell me that now. And I need to rewatch that.
Okay, so it wouldn't shock me if he hadn't, but I can see how there would be a window for him to do so. And depending on how they want to cut it, if they want to show that on screen, then of course, then yes, then he hasn't taken it yet. But if they don't really care about it being on screen, then I think the key thing is that we saw him take the serum and put it in his pocket, so he's in possession of like the last vial, to our knowledge, of the super soldier serum.
Mm-hmm.
Real question is whether or not they want to show him take it on camera or not.
Okay, I have a question about the serum. Do you think the serum that they took is as powerful as the one that Cap has?
Probably not, but I don't know to what degree, if that makes sense.
I don't know.
I think it's less potent than the dose that Cap got because that physically altered him like completely, and I think that it just enhanced. I think the serum that Carly and the Flag Smashers have taken have enhanced their physical abilities, but I don't think it completely altered their physicality like it did Cap. Like I think that's like the strongest version of it, because even Bucky isn't completely physically altered by the serum.
Yeah.
Like he's just enhanced. Like it just kind of sort of like, if his uh, physical attributes are like a, range from like a 6 to an 8, it just maxed everything to 10.
I think what's messing me up is seeing Carly get shot. I don't think we saw Captain America get shot ever. Have we?
No, I don't think so. And I don't know
Like,
if he. That's my question too. I don't think, can he take a bullet?
I don't know. I don't know if he's bulletproof or not, but we've never seen him get shot. Bucky's never
I'm
been shot either. That's
Yeah,
so I'm that's yeah, her getting shot is what threw me off. And then also her being afraid of, like, he shot her and then she looked genuinely scared of a gun. I don't know if it's just a courage thing, but I've never seen Cap just, well, he also has a shield to block them. She didn't. But I don't know, just she looked weak in that moment, and I don't remember seeing Cap or Bucky look like that. So I'm a little
yeah. Well,
confused
also
about
too,
that.
I think I operate on the assumption that both Bucky and Cap have some sort, some form of Kevlar on in their suit. Like I think their suits are bulletproof. Like I don't know if they physically are bulletproof, but she didn't have anything. She
She had
didn't have
on
a
just a
vest or
shirt.
anything. She was just out there like wilding, basically. Like
Gotcha.
they should have been hit a depot and got some like some
Oh,
armor or something,
they
man.
got
Like
armor?
shoot, they could have got it from the that GDC depot that they blew up. Like I mean, there were soldiers there. They could have got it off of or something. But I don't know. That's a
I wonder if
minor
they
plot
didn't
hole.
know. Because have any of have
Oh, dude got killed in first episode or episode 2. He sacrificed himself. They should have been had armor on. Like they should
yeah,
have been had armor on. As
they
far
didn't
as I'm
think about
concerned.
that.
Yeah, like if you're gonna be out here like this, like you need to be prepared for because now you've got world governments coming at you. You can't just be out here like naked, basically. Like you gotta have some sort of protection. Let me see. Go to the comments. I'm on the wrong screen. Okay. So he's following orders. Can't have I think my mom's talking about John Walker.
Yes.
Yeah, like the order, to her point, like the order is given, and you know the rules of engagement, but they'll look the other way if nobody else finds out about it and you get the job done. Like they're not gonna come down too hard on you. Like, but his issue right now is that they saw what he did, and they can't deny what happened because eyewitnesses in videotape. So from multiple witnesses at the scene. Pierce took the serum, lost cool when his friend got killed. Yeah, like for me, maybe I'm misreading those scenes, but when they take a real long moment to like show you bend that like pipe, and that's not a thin pipe. Like he bent it like it was like a straw,
I
and
watched
then when
the
he
show
jumps out the
3 times
window,
today and I missed that.
yeah, I mean they got to be what at least 3 floors up. And he jumps out that window and lands on top of that van, and like it caves in under him, just like Cap. Remember Cap in what was it, Civil War, when he jumps out the building in Africa and like lands on top of it, and he does that little superhero pose. Like he does the same thing on top of that van, and I'm like, it looked like Cap. He did the same way Cap would have done it, but I think they did. I feel like they did that because they want us to know that at this point in time, he's taking the serum. But I could be wrong because they don't show him take the serum. So there's the caveat in there for me.
I'll watch it again and catch it. Hopefully
Yeah.
he's just juicing. I didn't want him to take the serum. Um I will say though, I'm sad that Lamar had to pass for this to happen, but Cap losing his cool and getting caught in 4K works out in Carly's favor tremendously. Like killing
And
Cap,
Sam.
yeah. Well, Sam too, but I think Sam would have preferred that he did not do that. But Carly is probably cheesing from ear to ear now. Like, yeah, she said her friend died, but I have a feeling the next episode we're gonna see her ecstatic because all of the news is gonna be out about how bad Captain America is and how he's working for the GRC. Is that what it is?
Is it
How
GRC? Yeah, I think I said GDC. It's
they're
GRC.
you might be right. I don't know.
Repatriation. No, no,
They're
it's global repatriation. 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 Whatever.
one of them words. It's
Something.
like yeah. This is. I hate that Lamar had to die, but this worked out in her favor tremendously. Like it couldn't have gone any better for her and her mission. Like, yeah, imagine if they killed Captain America, then of course she would look bad. She would look powerful. The powers that be would be more afraid. But now instead, Cap looks bad. The GRC looks bad. And now more people will be running to her cause because of it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's 50-50. I think it does validate her message, but I can't say it's good for her cuz she let the beast out. Like now cuz now she's got John Walker and all his rage after her, and like once they strip him of his title and he doesn't have to bear the moral burden of being Captain America anymore, like you've really unhinged him. Like he's gonna come after her with full force. She might not make it out this show because of that.
I don't foresee her making it out of the show, but I do know as she has Sam on her side. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's another Civil War and it's, this time Sam versus Cap. They're on opposite sides for once. But I wouldn't be surprised if hmm. In my
See,
mind I was
he's not
thinking,
gonna.
what if
The next time,
hmm?
the next time John Walker and not Cap, Sam face each other, John Walker's not gonna be Cap. Like we're gonna. My prediction is that at the beginning of the next episode, we're going to see a court martial and a reprimand, and he's not going to have that title anymore. I think that's going to be from the jump.
I agree he's definitely not gonna be Cap. Even if there's he's not gonna be Cap anymore.
Yeah,
Um
that's over. Like when he got up and saw all those cameras around, he knew it was over.
ooh, and the looking at the shield with all that blood on it, it just
Yeah,
didn't look
it's
right.
over. It's over for him. So like that's going to be good. Not good, but that's the now the question is where Power Broker is, because really depends on how all this plays out. But if I don't know where John Thunderbolt Ross is, but like he could play a huge, or is it Josh? What's his name? John Thunderbolt Ross. Just make sure.
I'm not going to speculate too much about the power broker, but I know they're not about to do what they did with Ralph in WandaVision. Like I don't want to hear a name for 75 episodes. Next week is episode 5. We need to see the power broker and not at the very end.
Yeah,
It's time to see this character. They've been talking about him all this time. I would like to know what's up with that.
it, it's gonna be. They're gonna make a big deal out of it. Whether or not it's a character we've seen before, I don't know. But it could possibly be Thaddeus Ross. It's the power broker, who, um, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. Actually, if he is the power broker, um, because what happens to him uh, after Endgame? It was actually during the Infinity War, because we don't see Thaddeus Ross anymore after Civil War. So he could have got snapped, or he could have survived the snap. And if he survived the snap, and like he's got all that U.S. military access, like he could very well be the power broker. He could have put himself in the position um, to be that person. Like I would not be
Was this?
surprised if that's who it is, Thaddeus Ross. You remember in the Incredible Hulk, the guy that made the abomination?
Oh,
and he also became the U.S. senator, and he was the one that gave he not U.S. He was Secretary of State. He was not senator. He was Secretary of State. And he's the one that handed them the Sokovia Accords in
His
person. He
his
could possibly be the power broker because we
his
have no
character is
idea where
supposed
he
to
is.
be in Black Widow. And remember,
Yeah,
Black Widow was supposed to come out first, so that could very well be the spoiler that they were
he
saying
could
was
be
going to
it.
come out.
Yeah, he could be the power broker. It would make a lot of sense if that's who that is. Because it one he wouldn't want people to know who he is and who his true identity. Because let's say he's living a double life, right? Let's say he's still somehow involved in the U.S. government, U.S. politics, as Thaddeus Ross, but he's also his double life is him being the power broker. Well, he definitely wouldn't want that to get out, and that would you know that would explain a lot of the secrecy because he's got all this access because of his position within the U.S. government and the U.S. military. Um, but the question is, do they know? Have they like? Is this something that the government has sanctioned off the books? And as long as like no one finds out about it, because this could be really like a black book thing, like the Thunderbolt initiative. Um, but this really paves the way for uh, John Walker to become um, U.S. agent and join the Thunderbolts, and that would be the power broker, aka Thaddeus Ross. In this, and now I'm speculating. Um, it just makes too much sense. Not to say this is going to happen. I know we said we weren't going to speculate, but it just makes too much sense for it not to be this person. And if it's not, you know, I don't
I'm
know,
not
man.
going to speculate on who the power broker is, but I will say we need to see this person in the next episode. Like, I'm super turned off by the name dropping with Marvel. You done said Ralph 85,000 times, and at the end of the day, it wasn't like we were expecting more. I actually rewatched episodes 1 and 2 today of WandaVision. I wanted to watch it all the way through, but I had to watch something else. And knowing how it ends, those episodes were pretty boring. But
Mm-hmm.
uh Agatha drops the name Ralph the first time you see her on screen,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
like
turns
from
into
episode
somebody.
one.
So I don't know, Marvel. Tell us who it is in the next episode. It's time to see this person. Otherwise, I don't care. I don't want to wait until the final episode to find out who Ralph is.
Okay, so
Find out who the power broker is.
it
I
ha-
I
man,
see
it
a
has to be
speculation
him.
coming on.
All right, because look, I went to the Marvel Wiki, right? Thaddeus Ross. Remember in the Hulk movie, he's put in charge of the Biotech Force Enhancement Project. That's how he has access to the Super Soldier Serum because that's what they're trying to recreate with the Hulk. That's the whole point of the Hulk. They were trying to recreate the Super Soldier Serum from World War II with Cap. It went horribly wrong, and we got the Hulk instead. So he had access to this from the jump. Like he makes the most sense to be the power broker. And imagine if the Avengers found out who he is. Like there's no he. It has to be him because he's the one who wrote the Sokovia course. They would be pissed. They'd be coming after him. It
Look, I
has to
already
be.
told you my mood on the speculation. I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm just saying I'm not going to participate. However, if that's true, we need to see him in the next episode.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's why that episode is going to be an hour. Um, I don't know who else. He has to be the power broker. Has to be the spoiler. There has to be the link between this show and Black Widow. Like, and I think that him, the power broker, being Thaddeus Ross and Thaddeus Ross being involved in the Super Soldier Serum program. I, I mean, I really don't see who else it could be. And if it's not him, it's just somebody that we've never met before, but it doesn't explain the secrecy.
I did see online that there is a very notable actor in the next episode, playing a very significant part. I've been seeing those rumors coming on. And they said it's the first time we're seeing this character in the MCU, maybe even the first time we're seeing them on screen. But it is it's a role with a very big name in the position. But we don't know who that is or what the role is. But I've seen that on several sites. So
That's interesting.
I think
That's
next week
interesting.
though it's gonna be a big episode. You already told it right. It's gonna be 61 minutes. It better not be 15 minutes of credits. Also, knowing that that's gonna be 61 minutes, how long is the full movie from beginning to end? Because I was
Well, see,
thinking it was
this is where
around
it's
four
going to be.
hours.
Nah, see, that's where it's a little different because, all right, so once they made the decision to go the show route, then they can add more content. Because when they go into principal photography, like they don't shoot like just like 4 hours of footage. Like they've got like at least 10 hours of footage from like production for the full story, like the full length. So they just added more scenes than what they would have in the original theatrical cut. Like a lot of this would not have made it into that theatrical release. Like
That whole last episode, a lot of
that,
that.
yeah, that probably would not have made it in there. Like it probably wouldn't have. And if it did, it would have been significantly shorter. Um, Depending on how they play out the Louisiana stuff with
Sarah.
um, Sarah and the kid, that might not have made it. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot. If I'm looking at it from like a production standpoint, and looking at like, all right, what's key to the story? There's a lot in those first 3 episodes that we could have easily cut out just for the sake of the film because um, I think a lot of the sequences with what's his name the mission that Sam was on at the beginning of the movie, where we were introduced to the flag smashers. When he's flying in the
Oh,
planes, like who's the guy that was on the ground? I forget his name.
I can look it up, but keep talking about him.
But I think there's a lot of those. Not that opening sequence. I think that opening sequence would have made it, but I think a lot of the dialogue that they had afterwards, a lot of that would have got cut out. So I mean, it's just a lot in those first 3 episodes that would not have made it into the theatrical release. Captain's log says, "Hey everybody, sorry I'm late. What do you think? All think about the Dora's presence in that? Is their work done in this season since Zemo can creep when he wants to?" Yeah, let's get into that because that's basically that was my favorite part of the entire episode. So yeah, you actually, Captain's log, you weren't late because we hadn't had a chance to talk about that yet.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see them again. The question is whether or not the Zemo problem is going to get resolved. I would hope they would resolve it in this show, unless for some reason we're going to need Zemo in the future. But if there's no need for him, then hopefully he sticks around. Um, we, I would assume that he would go into hiding because he destroyed the rest of the serum. So in his mind,
He's
there's
done.
no
Mission
more
accomplished.
super zero problem. Why is he helping?
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I thought he snuck away. But if for some reason he's still hanging around and he still wants to help out with the flag smash, I mean, technically, he may still want to help because he does not F with uh, super soldiers at all. There are
Yeah.
still super soldiers living that he thinks should not be living. So he may still hang around a bit. But if we don't see Zemo, I don't think we'll see the Dora.
Here's an interesting aspect of his character, and we'll get into the Dora too, because I don't think that's the last we'll see of them, and it may not be the last that we see of Zemo. I don't believe the Zemo issue will be resolved by the end of this show. We will see Zemo again up here, but I think that his issue with super soldiers is going to boil over into mutants later down the road. Like, if he has this big of an issue with super soldiers, just imagine once those mutants start popping up and how, like, just his position on that. Because, like, he has a problem with governments weaponizing enhanced super soldiers to become weapons when mutants come into the equation, like I feel like he's going to be a key character in the anti mutant camp for Marvel later down the road. He's already a likable character. He's someone that the and that's not to say that he won't, this won't be his final hurrah in the MCU. But if he isn't, like, let's say he survives this show, I can totally see them using that character as the anti mutant, uh, enhanced individual. Uh, I don't know, leader for the humans. Like he would totally be somebody that Magneto would hate.
The only thing that messes with that is, in order to do that, he'd have to be free. And I struggle with seeing him free without the Dora finding him at some point. Like, if he's coming out making speeches and, fighting against music, he can't do that under the, I said music, fighting against mutants, he can't do that under the radar. So the beef that he has with Wakanda is what makes me hesitant to believe that he could do that for a long time. I don't think he. I agree with you. If he dislikes super soldiers, he's definitely going to hate mutants. I struggle with how long is he going to be able to vocalize that and do something about that before the Dora step in. That's where I'm iffy.
I think that I think he'll disappear if this was his exit. Like, let's say this is the last that we were going to see of him in the show. Like, he's going to stay off the radar until possibly the mutants pop into the equation. I'm not saying that this is how it's going to play out, but like I can see a situation where they may have sidelined this character. They may not have put that into the cards yet. But I think if he survives this show, and he's not going to appear in anything in the near term, like in Far From Home, not Far From Home, or is that Far From Home, Spider-Man 3. Anyway, Multiverse of Madness, Spider-Man 3. Any of the properties coming out in at the end of 2021 into like 2022. If he's not in any of these projects in the near term, I can totally see them saying, "Hey, this is a very popular character amongst the fans because of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. How can we use him later down the road?" And him being so anti-enhanced super soldiers, like, he totally fits into that anti-mutant camp as well. How they use him would be interesting. He would definitely have to stay off the radar until mutants become a prominent thing within the MCU. And he can do that because we know he's wealthy. So he can use his wealth to disappear until then, if that's how they want to play the story. But I think I think he would be a great character to have in that mutants versus humans debate with the introduction of the mutants down the road. Because otherwise you'd have to create a new character to play that role, and if you didn't kill him by the end of this, like, why not use him? Like, he's the perfect one. We already have a relationship with the character. People already feel a type of way about Zemo, good or bad. He's a great character for that, to be in that camp. Like, he doesn't have to be on the forefront because Zemo's not that type of character in the comics necessarily, but he can kind of sort of be in like almost like a Lex Luthor, where he's creating these groups that are against these certain individuals or something. I don't know. I'm spitballing here.
The only argument I would have to that is there's a lot of characters that already hate mutants in the Fox universe, which is now in the MCU. But I don't have any argument towards that. Like I told you, I'm not interested in speculating. I just want to see what's going to happen. But I don't disagree that Zemo would have a problem with mutants.
Yeah, I just think it makes sense.
The captain's log says, "What do you think is the best next move for Carly?" We touched on this before. I said earlier that I thought that Cap the new Captain America killing that man on camera was works in Carly's favor better than her killing him, because now the world gets to see how bad Captain America is in the GRC, and they can use that to their advantage. They'll probably get more supporters after this, knowing that Cap was there to harm her and instead harmed someone else. I don't think it's going to be wide news that Lamar was killed. So no one's really going to care. Or everybody's just going to see that Cap lost his mind. They're not going to know why. So as far as what's the best next move for Carly right now, I think she needs to let that tape run its course. And because they lost their serum, I think their goal should be to make the GRC look as bad as possible. So if she can, if what am I trying to say? The best thing for her to do is to make them look as bad as possible. So put other GRC soldiers in other positions, or even I feel bad, like I'm thinking about ways to help a terrorist, a fictional terrorist. But if she were to, I don't know, create situations like fake, not fake, but just do bombings or things
It's
and
propaganda.
shame
Propaganda.
the GRC, that's what's going to work in her favor. I do think her conversations with Sam got to her. I think she may try to avoid killing innocent people for a while. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I did think that she agreed with Sam that the conversation was worthwhile. But right now, she needs to just create a lot of propaganda and sit back and let that tape do its thing. Yes, Captain Zark, thank you for getting my words out because I was struggling. A smear campaign against the GRC is what Carly needs to do. She won't physically harm anybody in doing that, and she'll get more of the people on her side. And I think what the GRC is going to do is they're going to react to the propaganda harshly. They'll probably send more soldiers out. There'll be more people getting hurt. We already know that there's an app for the Flag Smashers, and they have a worldwide net of supporters.
Yeah,
All
they
of
got
these
a cult
people have cell
following.
phones.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is hold up a camera, show what's really happening to the people. That's what's going to work in their best favor. And
And
in
we
that way,
see
she doesn't have to hurt anybody.
and we see it in the first episode, or is that first or second episode? I can't remember. But early in the show, we see that they have this mass following, these people that are willing to like spread the word and news and do what they need to do. And I mean, they found their footing on the internet and the web, so they can use that to their advantage. And I 100% agree with you, because one, John Walker killing that dude on the street is going to make the rounds well before the news of Hoskins being killed is, because they're sending that out immediately. Like that already
Just
got
on
sent
Twitter.
by the end. It's already posted to the web. It's already trending. It's already all over. Like the press is out. So from that perspective, from that standpoint, she's won that battle, because that news is going to break first. And then by the time people find out about Hoskins, like the perception is that they were there to do bad anyway. So, they were there. They killed him in self defense, basically. Like there's not going to be a lot of sympathy for his death from people outside of the GRC and the U.S. government and things of that nature. So yeah, I mean that's from that perspective, yes, that's a very good win for them, and I think next steps for her personally, she's got to keep moving. Um, Losing the serum is a big deal. Like that's a huge blow to their plans. So like they took some L's as well. You know what I'm saying? So like they got to figure out how they're going to move. Like the power broker is still on them. They have no leverage because they've lost the thing that he was pursuing, or she. Um, it also potentially creates I just can't see a situation now because of the death of Haskins. Like ignore the speculation earlier of this being Thaddeus Ross, right? This will clearly cause John Walker to lose his status as Captain America, and whoever the power broker is going to be the only person that can help him in the Flag Smashers and Carly after what happened in this episode. So really the only person he can align himself with is the power broker in order to take them down. So for her, she's created, a second enemy on a personal level with John Hoskins, and that's going to be an issue if she isn't prepared for that. But she doesn't appear to be. Like we talked about this just a few minutes ago. Like they don't have body armor. They're not well armed. Uh, I they've got to figure out a plan on how they're going to take this on. They've either got to get more people on their side. They might eat some militias or something, like, because they're going to need some sort of resistance against the onslaught that is to come.
I
And
don't.
Cap, Sam and Bucky might be their best bet. Like they're going to have to form some sort of alliance with them in order to help with this situation. Like in my opinion, now I'm thinking about it, like Sam and Bucky are her best bet. Like because now she's going to have the brunt of the U.S. and the GRC after her, plus the power broker and his minions.
I think she's gonna have to jump ship. I was saying earlier, I'm not too sure what's in the United States for her, but we do know, they talked about, to me, they brought up Isaiah on screen. Sam is having these troubles in Louisiana. At some point, this show is going to have to return to the States. Um, I don't, I didn't want it to, but I wouldn't be surprised if Carly needs a hideout spot
Yeah, I
and she goes to the U.S. to get it.
I could see that, but see here, I don't know. You're right because I don't think that one in their current state they're not equipped to handle what is about to happen to them because as far as the political landscape goes, the U.S. government and probably the United Nations and any other world government, world power is probably backed or backing the GRC,
Hmm.
and she's killed several of their assets. Um, she's killed a U.S. operative in Haskins, so now she's going to have that problem because now she's going to have smoke from the U.S. government. Um, GRC, of course, power brokers, like the flag smashers as they are right now, are not equipped to handle all of that. And she might be the sole survivor in this next episode, and that's going to force her into an alliance with Bucky and Sam. But I think her friends might not survive next episode. It's a very strong possibility that they won't. And she might be left alone, and she might be the only one um, of her team left standing after the events of next episode. If I'm wrong, because I'm thinking next episode is going to be pretty bombastic. Like it's going to be like just off the wall crazy. Um,
I
and,
also worry that her team is, they may lose faith in her antics. Like in the beginning, yes, they supported her fully, but I don't believe they named him on screen. But the gentleman, the Asian gentleman with the long hair,
mhm.
I don't think he was feeling her methods previously. And now that I think the one person who supported her the most on screen is dead, I
Mhm.
wouldn't be surprised if you see an internal struggle between the people who are leading the flag smashers. The public still might support her, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of the other powered people, because now they're down to two of them are dead, and there were originally eight,
Yeah,
so now there are six. I don't think they're gonna like that. The original
yeah,
plan was to grow the army, and now they can't do it. She's switching things up now, and I think some people might have a problem with that.
yeah. I mean, they could see there could definitely be some turncoats now. Um, all of that's at play, in my opinion. I think that's a very good point. Like, I don't see that everyone is 100% behind her. I think that they got a somewhat of a morale boost with Haskins going down, and with the U.S. agent thing playing out the way it did, but that's not like a surefire like win for them. Like the consequences of that is really going to show the mental of the flag smashers, because like I don't know, man. Yeah, the betrayal aspect is something that could happen, but I don't see them making out of the next episode, even if they do decide to like turncoat or what have you. Like it just I can't see it because they're too easy to take down. Like yeah, they're super soldiers, they're super strong, but like we see a couple of rounds can still. I mean, they're still vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not bulletproof.
Yeah.
They're not bulletproof. But yeah, Second Street, what's going on?
What's up, Second Street?
Interesting though, right? Like the episode sets up a lot for me. It got me reinvested in the show in a lot of ways. Uh, More so than the last episode. I think last episode kind of sort of was a departure, like we said at the jump. It was kind of like I was excited, and then this was kind of like eh. But this episode was like, all right, this is kind of sort of what I was hoping from episode three. Um, but yeah, it does set up a lot, and I hope we see the Power Broker next episode. I'll be concerned if we don't see Power Broker next episode. Um,
I'm gonna be
that's
more
going
than
to
concerned. I'm
reshape
gonna
where
have
we
an
are.
attitude. We need to see the power broker. We need to see who this person, who the actor is, first of all, who, like, what strings are being pulled, who's working for who. I feel like I keep want to call her neighbor. Her name is Sharon. Uh, I want to know what's up with her. Like, who is she working for, or is she really working for herself? Is she really like completely outs by the U.S. government, or is she just placed there for a specific reason? Like the fact that she's now living a life of crime, selling illegal art. That doesn't make too much sense to me. Like I
Mm-hmm.
could see her just chilling out somewhere, living the simple life, but no, she went full blown criminal. I don't believe that. So definitely want to know what's going on with her and why she's there.
Yeah, and she did say in that episode that she had some leads or some things to talk about with her. So like she's more informed than I believe she let on. I think
Yeah.
she had some ideas. I think she was speculating on what was going on, but she couldn't say for sure. She wasn't comfortable enough with her theories or speculation to, tell Sam and Bucky. But I think she I think she knows more than what she revealed to the team in the previous episode, and I'm hoping that she'll pop up in next episode and kind of sort of elaborate. We did see that she was kind of sort of in like a sit rep position where she was feeding them intel, but I would like to know what it is exactly that she was theorizing about in episode three. Can Power Broker be more than one person? Um, I believe. I mean, it's possible, but I believe in the comic books, the Power Broker is just one person.
Power broker could be a group.
It could definitely be a group. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a group. Um, but yeah, now okay, go back to this online. Was it this theory speculation that you read with this? Who's the Power Broker?
They didn't say anything about the power broker. They said that
Is
there's
it
a,
this person unnamed
there's a
character?
significant actor, a big name, huge name, is going to be in the MCU for the first time. They'll be in episode 5, and they're playing a role that has, for the first time on screen in the MCU. It's a Marvel character that's been in comics, but not in the MCU. That's all I know. They didn't say who the person is playing. There's just a name. There's
Okay,
just
interesting.
something. Yeah.
Interesting. That gets me um excited because if that's the case, then it it not being Power Broker, this individual, if they say that this is not the Power Broker, whoever they're playing, then I'm curious as to who that person is and who this could be. Um, do you have a source on that? Or can you drop that into the Discord? Yeah, we're like an
I'll
hour
drop
and
that in the
15
Discord.
in. Lost track of time there, but we are what? We're hour 20.
Yeah, it's 9:30, 9:35.
Yeah, yeah. This sets up a lot to think about for and to kind of sort of be to look forward to in the next episode. At least in the next two episodes. This was a really solid episode for me. Okay. See, I didn't know if Second Street was in here or not. It's Will I Am they're referring to, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, are they doing that early? That's kind of early. Who did he play in that Wolverine movie? Because he was one of the X-Men.
The one that can do zap himself, but he doesn't do it the same way Nightcrawler does it.
Yeah, he teleports, right?
Yes, but his looks different. Like Azazel and Nightcrawler, they're like in a puff of smoke, but his character, like you see his like first his skeleton, then or his nervous system, then his skeleton, then his muscles, then his final form. Like he
Mm-hmm.
comes, then his clothes. It's you have to watch it to know what I'm talking about. But yeah,
Yeah. I know who. I forgot the character's name. Trinity, if you can help us out here, what's the character's name? But yo, that would be crazy if that's the case. If that's who that is, because see that kind of goes back to my theory about what's his name about Zemo and him being anti mutant because I would definitely start introducing that dynamic into it if he pops up. Oh man, that could be interesting. So, hey, we might need to continue this discussion offline in the Discord.
I think we need to. We can talk about this. I want to see next week's episode before we do it
I
tomorrow.
do
So we
because
can talk
there's a
about
lot, man. That is interesting. If that's the case, oh, that sets up a lot of stuff, man. That's exciting.
the way they were talking about it, or the things that I've read was that it was they were more talking about the actor was supposed to be a big name. That's what I was reading. I didn't take it as there's a Fox character that's coming in. But
Mm-hmm.
regardless, that is maybe it's both. I don't know. But regardless, that's really exciting.
He could be. I mean, Will I Am is a big name. I would say
I was they were
coming into this,
the
or are they saying like an A-list big name?
I'm thinking like A-list actor.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Will I Am, if you're watching this, that I just
Well,
yeah.
he should know he's not an A-list actor. I mean, musician, he's up there, but like, what do you call him? What has he been in besides that? Like, because that's the only thing I can think
Let me
of.
look it up. Let me not. Will I
I
Am?
feel like that's the only thing. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, he should know he's not a A-list actor, and if he didn't know that, then he needs a reality check because he's not there yet. Not to say he can't be one, but he ain't there yet.
All right. So he does a lot of voice work.
That wouldn't make him an A-list.
I'm
I'm
just
just
saying.
saying. That's good. That's good.
He was in Madagascar. Moto
I
Moto
do
in
kind
Madagascar
of
too.
remember that being a thing,
Moto
but
Moto in Madagascar too. The hippo that was trying to get on Gloria. That's
all of that is around the same time period as this movie coming out too.
yes.
So
It was X-Men Wolverine was 2009. Then Moto Moto was 2008.
yeah,
He's
so
in
that makes
Rio.
sense.
He's in the Cleveland show. He was in Rio too. Arthur in the Revenge of the Invisibles. I don't know what this series is, but there's a cartoon series, films called Arthur. He's in 2 and 3.
Oh, that's that FX show.
But
Oh no, Archer. Never mind. Sorry, never mind.
no, I said Arthur. It's
Okay.
an animated film. Other than that, he's yeah. Sorry, Will I am.
All
But
right.
excited to see you if it's you.
Definitely looking for if it is him, that is pretty exciting because he's already been a Marvel character, just not in the MCU. And if he is reprising his role as is it John Rath? Captain's log says with a question mark. If that is who he's playing and that's an introduction, that would be very interesting. But he said, okay, so Josh was talking about this in the morning stream. Will I am appearance?
Yes, John Rath is the character.
Okay, so if I trust I trust Zach. I mean, as Josh and his sources. If he felt comfortable enough to report this, not to say that this is a surefire bet, but he felt comfortable reporting it and putting it out on his morning stream, then there's some validity to it. Um, that to me, I still believe that he's going to be. If he is is reprising his role as John Rath, that's very interesting. That
Can I say
still leaves
if that's
room
if
for.
you got it?
Yeah, I just want to say that still for me leaves room for Thaddeus Ross to appear as well as the power broker because I that's where I am.
I was just gonna say if John Wraith is in the show, that's his. I'm gonna count him as the first time seeing a mutant on screen because in WandaVision, the other Quicksilver and her kids were still kind of in her head. I mean, even Agatha, the
Yeah.
Quicksilver was made by Agatha. That was magic. So
Right.
Wraith
Right.
would be the first. He might even say, "Are they gonna say the word mutant in this show?"
They can.
I,
This show went into production after the acquisition of Fox, so they could absolutely say mutant.
you know what? If this happens, dang,
That's
Black
a
Widow is just
bomb,
not
bro.
gonna hit the same because this Black Widow was supposed to come out first. So if they do this
Exactly.
and then Black Widow comes out, and then we're like,
Well,
hmm.
we don't know what the big cameo is either. Like, I'm still I'm in the camp that the cameo is going to be Thaddeus Ross as far as like the connection between Black Widow and this. But for them to put a mutant officially into the picture in the MCU in next episode, yeah, that kind of steals some of the thunder from Black Widow for sure. They just need to put that movie up, but yeah, I don't know, man. But hey, look, I'm looking forward to next week's episode. Even despite the rumors and things that we talked about that could be potentially happening in next week's episode, this was a really solid episode. They set up a lot of things to happen in the next episode, and however it plays out, I hope it's good. 61 minutes is the rumor runtime, so that leaves a lot. That means there's going to be a lot to happen, and yeah, yeah. Hopefully, we don't end up with a WandaVision scenario. That's the only thing that's a pretty low bar, but the reality is this show so far has done a really good job of character development. I hope they continue that at least. And these cameos at this point are going to be icing on the cake. That's how I'm going into it. I'm not going to put too much stock into it, but the potential of it is exciting. No
I don't
comment.
speculate anymore because I did a lot of speculation today, and I told myself I wasn't going to do it, and now I don't know what to expect next week. But you know what? I don't want to know what to expect next week. I
All
want
I'm
to
saying, yeah,
just watching a good show. The only thing I need out of next week is to find out who the power broker is. They haven't even named them. They've title dropped this person the whole show. I need to see who they are and find out more about them in the next episode. That's all I want.
yeah,
61 minutes, there better be 10 minutes of that at least.
yeah. I mean, I agree 100%. Like, biggest expectation for me next episode is Power Broker reveal. Like, and we need screen time. Like, we need all of that to play out. And then whatever else happens, happens as far as I'm concerned. But we need the Power Broker reveal. We need to know what he or she is up to. You already know where I feel and who I think it is. And if it's not who that person, if it's not that, then whoever this is, they really got to do a really good job of uh, meeting expectations for Power Broker because they've really set this character up in these 4 episodes, so they need to deliver on that. That's all I'll say. Uh, Join us in the Discord for more conversation because I'm okay with speculating. I'm down to speculate, and I'll speculate all day long in the Discord with you guys. If you want to talk some more, link is in the description box. And Imani, where can they find us on social?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch at Certified Gumbo. If you love our channel, you love what we do, please buy us some coffee. The link is in the description box below. If you love tonight's show, please like this video, and as always, subscribe to our channel. We will be live tomorrow at 8 p.m. For the cookout. I don't know about the whole show, but I know tomorrow during the community discussion, we have to decide what qualifies a film as a superhero film. That's a community discussion, because I said we were going to that we were going to narrow down our list in the month of April. I think it's going to take more than just a few episodes of the cookout to get it done. So we might go into May, but we need to agree on what makes a superhero film a superhero film. So we'll do that tomorrow.
Going to be a great conversation. And also Sunday, we got Star Wars Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Skywalker Academy has been trademarked. We've got some Essentials Legends books being updated, that being the Heir to the Empire series with Grand Admiral Thrawn. That implies a lot of different things. So join me on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about all of that, what it means, and what the future of Star Wars may or may not be. That's all I got for this episode. Thank you all for joining, and as I always say, peace, love, blessings, and may the force be with you always.